Hey Matt, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Matt, it's good to see you.
Melissa?
Melissa, good to see you.
Hey, Jen. Dad. Nothing.
Nothing? Quorum? We do have a quorum.
We do have a quorum.
Hey,
Yeah.
did you bring the bread?
Anybody?
I did
Were
not.
you
Where's
on the
the bread?
meeting, Melissa?
I brought a
Not
picture
huge.
though.
How often do we
I
get
saw
together?
that. Where was that?
On our house.
Wow, look at that.
Used to being on the
Is he
computer.
wrapped up in fishing
We
line?
can mute
Yep.
people.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yep.
So
Were
what-
you able to save
Alright.
it?
Well, got down and he got the Tufts, but Tufts said
We're gonna
Really?
Broken
we're gonna
wing. I
we're
mean,
gonna
I'm
call
shocked
the
that-
meeting to order.
that
Ted,
Okay.
Jim, good. All right. Are we expecting Janine?
Janine will be a few moments late.
Okay. All right. So yeah, we can get started. Tuesday, June 30th is the Hopkinton Conservation Commission hearing, 7 p.m. live, in person at the Hopkinton Senior Center. So to get started, I think, Kim, you mentioned we have some documents for signature. Can we put those out of the way?
Yep, so we have 29 Elmhurst Road, an order of conditions, and we have 1 Fox Hollow Road, which is an amended order of conditions. So I'm gonna pass these papers down if you could physically scribe on
Does
them.
everybody remembers how to write their name?
small things amuse small minds.
Do we need a motion for that?
Do you want to make a motion? Do we need a motion?
No, I was saying.
Or you make-
No, a motion to let us sign it. To not have
Motion to approve.
him sign it.
If we're signing it, we don't need a motion.
This is,
Maybe to be, take a 10.
Need a motion to have Kim sign for us.
11832.
I will make a motion
Did she need the state shit?
to sign and issue the order of conditions for 29 Oakhurst Road.
Second.
All in favor?
Hi.
Aye. Hey, did she take a 10?
All right, and then can I get a motion for,
Yeah, flip.
No, yeah, right. That's Oakhurst. 28
1 Fox Hollow Road.
Oh.
16 age.
yep, okay.
I will make a motion to sign and issue an amended order of conditions for 1 Fox Hollow Road.
Second.
All in favor?
Hi.
All right.
Does Jeff know how efficient this meeting runs when he's not here?
I don't know, the last one I was pretty long. I did. We're gonna do better this time. All right, and draft minutes for
Whoops, I
review.
signed in the wrong place.
Out of practice.
They don't seem to be making it past you.
Ted, I signed where you're supposed to sign. I
That's
didn't,
okay. He'll sign where you're signing.
He'll swap.
It'll still be illegal.
that ought to work, right?
As long as all the signatures are there.
Just do a little arrow.
Just the first one?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, this one doesn't have like the sign,
It's
the
amended.
sign signing.
Yeah, the
Sign
amended,
event.
just gonna sign anywhere.
The other one was
Pick
just
a
a mess
line.
with your head. Just a mess with you.
Hey, look. I had my brain searched the other day. They actually found it, but much evidence of trauma. So you be nice to me.
I'm still looking for somebody to download some stuff I got in my head.
All right, draft minutes
Miss
for
signing things.
review.
We went right by you.
April 30th. Did everybody get a chance to take a look at them?
Yeah. I didn't do it.
Yeah. You good? Can I get a
We're good.
motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of, what date?
April 30th.
April 30th.
There it is, April 30th.
Second. All in favor?
Hi.
All right. Janine,
Okay.
where's the conditions to sign?
And since we're still before 7:15, let's have 80 Winter Street, request for certificate of compliance.
Of course, you're putting on the short.
All right, I'll talk you folks through this one. So we have a certificate of compliance request for 80 Winter Street. There was a notice of intent in 2004 to raise an existing single-family home and construct a new single-family home with a septic system in its place within the buffer zone. The COC was originally applied for in 2007, and the previous conservation consultant, Ellen, I don't know if any of you guys remember Ellen, she reviewed the site back in 2007, and she noted that the site was stable, it was built according to the plan, and only that they were waiting on some additional PIBs. And then I guess the ball got dropped. So it just recently came up in a title search because the property is changing hands again. So we did have, an as-built, and we had the fee, and we had the review. So Anna and I decided the best course of action was to go out to the site to check to see if the as-built was still accurate. We found that it was still largely accurate, and that we were still, in fact, just missing the last little bit of PIBs. So we advised the homeowner and the applicant to install additional PIB medallions at the site as originally approved, which they did. And so at this point, I am recommending the Conservation Commission issue the certificate of compliance. Okay.
Melissa, I'll make a motion that we issue that certificate of compliance.
Yep. Anyone have any questions before you? No?
Oh, man.
Okay. Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Swimming.
So we'll move to the new hearings, and I will read this. Hopkinton Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, July 30th, 2024 at 7 p.m. Hopkinton Senior Center, 28 Mayhew Street, to hear all persons interested in a notice of intent filed by Hopkinton DPW for drainage improvements and associated site work. Location: Wood Street, right away from Walker Street to the Indian Brook Culvert at 83 Wood Street.
Hello, everyone. So, Carrie Reed, Director of Public Works.
This is Peter Barozzi with VHB.
So we came informally, I think, and talked to you guys about this one. So now we're submitting a notice of intent.
Well, we first tried the RDA with this, and then we were asked to go back and provide full NOI submittal. We've done that. We did not receive any comments back from Lucas Engineering, and so we're going to request to continue to the next hearing for full review. But if there's anybody has any thoughts or things that they'd like to discuss, we can.
Okay. I guess I'll ask Joe, do you want to highlight any comments?
Maybe
we should go to Kim.
Yeah.
First? Okay.
Point of clarification. Okay, so this application originally came before the commission as an RDA. As was explained at that point, Lucas Environmental completed an peer review. Now that we've moved to an NOI, I had a discussion with Carrie, and we both felt like it may be more appropriate for a stormwater engineer to provide us a review due to the nature of this project. So we have contacted one of our on-call land use consultants, Weston and Sampson, and they have provided a quote. I need to authorize their work, and then I understand that they will provide a stormwater review. That being said, obviously some of the comments that Lucas Environmental provided for the RDA package probably still apply as general comments, but we have not contracted with Lucas Environmental to move forward with reviewing any additional changes to the plans. If that helps.
Okay. I think that makes sense to me. Are there any substantial changes from the RDA plan set?
So we shifted the main trunk line from one side of the road to the other after it was discovered that there was a sewer force main that would be in conflict with it. So the overall design is the same. It's just the fact that the location of the trunk line has changed from the RDA to this submission.
Okay.
And we did also continue, one of the comments was, whether or not there was justified having catch basins or some drainage on the other side of the road. And we looked at that briefly. There was some conflicts. It's right out my window, so I've been looking at it. Most of the runoff is coming from the properties and getting trapped on their own property by the curb line as opposed to coming off the road and going onto their properties.
Yeah.
So we didn't feel like it was
There's also
Justified.
There's also a water main right along the edge there too. So any additional structures on the other side would be in conflict with that and would need to be also addressed.
but we did take a look.
We did look.
Okay.
So,
Any-
Melissa,
Yep.
and I'm sorry if this was already answered last time, there's currently no stormwater system out in front from Walker to...
That's
St.
correct,
Paul's or
yes.
something?
There's currently no structures or main trunk line.
Thanks. So it's one of the catch basins.
Does anyone have any other questions at this point in time?
No,
Nope. Okay. I think that makes sense. We'll continue, see what the stormwater review comes out with.
So we continue it to the next meeting.
The next meeting isn't until August 20th, so I feel like that's an appropriate timeline.
I was going to say, do you know when you can expect to hear back from them? Are they getting a timetable
I'm hoping within 2 weeks, which would give you a week to
addressed?
respond.
Yeah.
Do I need to send you something to formally continue it?
it's not.
Nope, just ask for, if you would just ask for a continuance, vote on a continuance.
Yeah, so I'll have, ask for a continuance until next meeting.
Okay.
Make a motion to continue till August 20th.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. You all are here for the
next
next
one, too.
one as well, so I'll read this real quick before we jump in. The Hopkinton Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, July 30th, 2024 at 7 p.m. at the Hopkinton Senior Center, 28 Main Street. Hear all persons interested in a notice of intent filed by the town of Hopkinton to construct a sidewalk with associated site work, location Chestnut Street right away from Wild Road to Smith Road.
So again, Carrie Reed, Director of Public Works. This project was sponsored by the Planning Board and approved at town meeting for sidewalk to try to improve connectivity between the neighborhoods, the residential neighborhoods over there, and Hayden Row, and then the ability to go up to like the school campuses and loop back around. And we're looking at it sort of in phases. I think it's a little bit, especially with the wetlands around there, a little more complicated than initially kind of envisioned, of just putting a sidewalk in there. So that's why we're here today. So then I'll let you guys explain the rest of it.
So my name is Casey Barbier. I'm the environmental scientist working on this project, also from VHB. We have some updated plans.
So we got comments yesterday from Lucas, and so we decided to update our plans based on their feedback. We provided him with a hard copy or a PDF copy of that, but we bring off some fresh hard copies as well.
Way up?
So,
Would you like the plans or the presentation?
presentation, that works. All right. So again, this is for the Chestnut Street sidewalk installation. The main goal of the project, as Carrie said, was to improve pedestrian accommodations and connectivity along Chestnut Street via the addition of a 5-foot wide sidewalk along the southern side of the road. And it was conceived by the Town of Hopkinton's Planning Board and is being, again, overseen by the Engineering and Public Works Department. And it extends from Wild Road to Smith Road. Within the vicinity of the project, we have some wetland resource areas, including Beaver Brook, which flows north to south in the project limits. This is categorized after public review or the peer review. We deemed it intermittent. It's mapped as intermittent on the USGS, and the drainage basin size on StreamStats suggests that. We also have 2 smaller intermittent drainage and bank features along the project route further east than which support bank. We have bordering vegetated wetlands along these drainage features, and land under water bodies and waterways within the intermittent channels, and the 100-foot buffer zone as regulated by the Wetlands Protection Act, and the Town of Hopkinton Wetlands Protection Bylaw also instills a 50-foot no disturbance zone and a 75-foot no build zone from the edge of these resource areas. And a little overview, just construction. So as we said, the construction is going to be split up into 2 segments. And the proposed sidewalk will be installed on the southern shoulder of Chestnut Street. The adjacent roadside shoulder will be graded. The 5-foot wide concrete sidewalk will be installed with a 6-inch granite curb. And portions of the sidewalk will have a steel guardrail. I believe that's from Gibbon Road to Smith Road on the eastern portion of the project route. And then the project also include minor clearing and grubbing along the adjacent roadside vegetation, which is commonly mowed and maintained now. And then we are installing components of the erosion and sedimentation control plan in between the work area and wetland resource areas, and areas of disturbance that are not occupied by the new sidewalk are going to be seeded with a natural seed mix. So these are just 2 cross sections of, the first one shows Chestnut Street, and then you'll see on the right of the top photo, that's the proposed sidewalk. If you're facing, I believe this is looking east. Then the bottom one just kind of zooms in further to the sidewalk, and it has the proposed guardrail there too. And it shows the slope going down to the surrounding areas. So work is limited to the 100-foot buffer zone and the locally regulated 50-foot no disturbance and 75-foot no build zones. Basically it's just work installing the sidewalk, loamy and seeding, areas of temporary disturbance, and installing the erosion and sedimentation control plan. So some mitigation measures of the sedimentation and erosion control plan includes temporary stabilization and seeding, permanent seeding, both using native seed mixes, erosion control barriers shown on the right, which will help, if any erosion does happen, help collect it before it moves into wetland resource areas, since there is a slope down from the roadway now. And then catch basins along the project route will also be protected from sedimentation through silt sacks installed. Stormwater management, it's currently sheet flow drains into the existing catch basins. So we're retaining that design in this project, and we will increase impervious surfaces by quarter of an acre, or approximately a quarter of an acre, just due to the addition of the concrete sidewalk. And as we said before, the existing roadside shoulder, it's on the side of the road, it's commonly mowed, maintained vegetation. And along the project route, we have 6 existing catch basins, which are going to be replaced with deep sump hooded catch basins, and the remaining catch basins are going to be they're just going to be maintained and might be slightly adjusted for the sidewalk, but Peter, do you want to go over alternatives?
So yeah, if the commission remembers, we had an informal discussion a few months back on this. Both Carrie and I presented a couple alternatives that we were looking at, try to get some insight from you guys to try to see what would be your preference to proceed. One of those being that, well, separate from the no build, obviously, is where we would shift the curb line into the road closer. Again, this would have had less impact on the surrounding area and less overall increase in the impervious area. But that was deemed to be, given the history with Main Street and with
You know where I'm coming
yeah,
from,
we were informed that making the road narrower is not exactly something that engineering wants to get behind. I guess putting that lightly. So engineering's preference was to essentially maintain the existing curb line. And in order to also minimize the disturbance to the area, we would have the sidewalk abutting that, a new vertical granite curbing right along the edge there. One of the other alternatives we did discuss and presented to the commission was the use of HMA berm instead of vertical granite curbing, but due to safety concerns of having people against the side of the road there with fast-moving traffic and a lot of traffic, we would have also had to shift the sidewalk back several feet in order to provide additional safety, again providing much more significant wetland and direct wetland impacts. So after presenting all of those, we decided on this one.
Some regulatory compliance. So work is present within the buffer zone or would be present within the buffer zone. The portions of the buffer zone that would be affected would be the roadside shoulder, which would include grading and installation of the sidewalk, and then temporary seating and permanent seating following the completion of construction. Work within the local 50-foot no disturb and 75-foot no build zones would also consist of similar work. And as Peter mentioned, this alternative has the least amount of impacts while also fulfilling the goal of the project. And we are not anticipating any impacts to rare wildlife species, as we're not within any estimated or priority mapped habitat for rare wildlife species. And for this work, the applicant respectfully requests the commission grant a waiver for work within the local 50-foot no disturb and 75-foot no build zones. That's it.
So I guess before opening it up too, I just wanted to highlight the change between what was originally submitted in the NOI and then what we just handed out to you all. Primarily it was, Lucas determined that we had initially assumed or thought that Beaver Brook was a perennial stream and therefore had full riverfront area. And you'll see that on the original copy of that, and then now in the updated, it was determined and then verified by us. So Lucas first determined that that was actually an intermittent stream and it doesn't become perennial except for another 1,200 feet downstream of the project area. So we've removed that, and then therefore all of that potential riverfront area impacts related to the project are non-existent. So that's probably the most significant change between that and this one. Lucas did comment that a number of our wetland flags were mislabeled within the plans, and so we went through and cleaned them up as well as part of this next resubmission.
Great. Okay, I guess with that, Joe, were there any other comments that weren't just discussed that you want to highlight from your review?
Just a few, I think. I did get out and review the delineation. There were some flags that I thought were a little bit low and should be revised. I'm not going to go through all those, but they're listed in the review. As was noted, there was also some mislabeling, and apparently that's been corrected. Let's see. There were also several locations where it appears that the sidewalk is going to go through an area of fairly dense Japanese knotweed. So would like to recommend that the applicant provide some kind of a invasive species management plan for dealing with that as they're in construction. Let's see, the riverfront area issue has been addressed. That removes the need for a limited project status. There were waivers being requested for work within the no disturbance and no build zones. I recommended that the applicant provide some additional information on potential impacts to each of the interests of the bylaw and how the conditions under the waiver requirements are being met, particularly with respect to improving the natural capacity of the resource areas to protect the interests. So really, a little bit more along the lines of mitigation and how those how the capacity of the resource areas will be protected and improved. I noted, replacing 6 of the catch basins, I guess, with deep sump. Are the existing ones deep sump? Or
No, we don't believe that they are, and they aren't. They don't have hoods.
Okay. I was curious about that. I didn't know if that was noted or not. I think pretty much that covers the remainder of my comments that may not have been addressed.
Okay, thanks, Joe.
Yep.
Okay. So there's a few more items from Joe's letter to address, but it doesn't sound like anything major. Does anyone on the commission have questions or comments?
Question for Joe, actually. Joe, you mentioned a few flags might be a little low.
Yep.
Are any of those in areas where it'll turn into impacts to the wetlands? Or
I
is it-
don't think anything is going to result in a direct impact to the wetland. It's
Okay.
just going to be closer.
Yeah.
In the revised plans that we given you, we implemented Lucas. So we did our delineation during the dry months,
Yeah.
and so and obviously in December. And
Looks
so,
very different.
yeah. So we decided to just go by what Lucas did by their. We included additional flags in there as per what they outlined within their memo, and so yes.
And it didn't impact
No.
the buffer zone, no direct impact.
No.
Yeah, that was my thought, that would be the case.
I may have missed it, but is there anywhere on the plans where it identifies that the catch basins are going to be deep sunk?
Not
If
directly
not, I
on
think
the
it would be
plan.
helpful to clarify
Well, that's
that.
usually the standard that gets installed these days. So
No,
that's,
I
that's what
understand that.
we can certainly include a note to make sure that they're deep sunk catch basins.
Are the 6 locations are identified though?
There's, I think, 4 are labeled. There's a couple
Okay.
that graphically are there. And yeah, I agree. The standard now is deep sumps with hoods, but you give the contractor an
No, I
option.
understand. Yeah,
It's gonna have a 2-foot sump.
Yeah.
No hood.
we normally bid the standard DOT items, and they should send us shop drawings and everything that we need to approve. But yeah, that's fine.
And I think because this is just a roadway improvement project, adding a sidewalk, you're doing some improvements to the catch basins. I don't necessarily think a stormwater review is needed for this project. Agreed. Yeah.
Agreed.
Okay.
Through the chair,
Yeah.
and I apologize if this was covered before, but is 5 foot standard? That seems really wide for a sidewalk.
That is pretty much the DOT standard. That is what the minimum needs to be. Yes. Yeah.
ADA
It's 5.5 feet, including the width of the curb,
Wow, okay.
and that's also wide enough for your plows to clean them up.
So, this plan requires waiving, if you will, the no disturb, no build zone. I support doing that. It's a public works project. It's for public, benefit, welfare, and so forth. So, I just wanted to say that. I would definitely support it.
Thanks, Jim.
Through the chair, I have a question.
Yes.
Besides the fact that we could narrow the road to be the same as Main Street, and make the sidewalk there, I'm going to leave that aside. I want to know if there are areas that we are confident are critter crossings at the moment, and how curbs will impact that.
I'm not sure, unless Casey can provide comment.
We
on
didn't
that.
see any signs of confirmed critter crossings. There are, through the intermittent drainage channels, culverts that flow from north to south, which may be utilized by amphibious species, but there were no direct signs of this is
The
where.
culverts are not open box culverts, they're just pipes.
Just culverts, yep.
Right. Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. I'm not aware of any, and I'm not aware of any that this is the high roadkill area that we respond to. As talked about, there are culverts on the road, and we are looking at the culvert closer to Hayden Road that's going to have to be replaced, and that would be the best place for the crossing. And when we replace that and design that, that'll be considered. They're all tough to fit in, in already settled areas, but that would be our best option. And it has the most connectivity between habitat areas, so that would be where we want them crossing.
You could put signs and they'll follow the signs.
They follow the signs. I've heard that. I heard they follow signs.
We thought about maybe providing little designated areas of diving it down, but again, I don't know how you're gonna
Flashing
probably be
arrow.
like cross here, turtle.
Flashing arrow.
Yeah.
Through the chair, what determines when you need a guardrail, where it starts and where it stops?
There is a level of engineering judgment typically when it comes to that, usually, but if you need to grade down quickly, like if there's a sharp drop off, generally for any slopes that are greater than 4 to 1, coming off the side of the road for a significant distance. As you can see, we're going down at 2 to 1, and we need to go down at that rate in order to avoid any additional resource area impacts, particularly direct resource area impacts. It's just to provide some forgiveness in case somebody is a little asleep at the wheel, and they should be able to cover.
So my second question is then, where the guardrail is now will protect the resource area, but not a pedestrian.
No.
Why not put it on the other side and
Street
add
side?
some protection to the pedestrian? I was looking at the loop road around the high school, and they seem to do both. There are some sections of the sidewalk where the steel guardrail is road, sidewalk, guardrail, and then there's other sections where it's road, guardrail, sidewalk.
So providing guardrail in front of the sidewalk would shift the sidewalk back and increase the, or rather push back our grading limit, and could potentially disturb the resource area. Also, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's
Wouldn't it
what,
be the same width?
why is that?
No,
sidewalk
because what we're proposing is a what they call D-post guardrail. So it's a DOT standard item, and it's basically, instead of, if it's a guardrail within a flat shelf, it has to be level, and that's your standard guardrail. For D-post, you're allowed to put it into a 2 to 1 slope, so we can start grading off the back of the sidewalk directly. And again, that helps bring our grading limit in.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
So generally, it's also like, then by that argument, we could do guardrail throughout the entire corridor
Yeah.
too, in order to
Well, that
protect
was my
pedestrians, which
other
is
question, is where does
true,
it
and then that
stop?
becomes very expensive.
Right, but through the chair, and I'm not a transportation engineer, I don't even pretend to be one, but, the guardrails are supposed to be designed to protect, cars from falling off of a slope. They're not supposed to be used as fencing or pedestrian protection, and I know a lot of people perceive that as much, but the reason why they're these big steel things with the heavy posts is because they're supposed to stop a car. They're not supposed to, protect the pedestrians. That's, why we're putting where it is, and we added the curbing and some other stuff that we tried, but
All of that makes sense. It just struck me that it could provide a little additional pedestrian protection, but, okay.
Through the chair, just to follow up on that, Greg Russell with VHB.
Yep.
So with the guardrail, Mass DOT requires guardrail now be placed at the back of the sidewalk,
Oh.
not at the front. That it's in part due, the sidewalk has to be outside of the deflection zone of the guardrail. So the new standards for the guardrail result in a deflection anywhere up to 12 feet.
Oh,
So which would require the sidewalk to get pushed that much further back. You have that buffer, that causes significantly more.
okay.
So instead of just getting knocked off the sidewalk, you could get run over first before you... Makes sense to me.
Well, the guardrail will hit you, so. Anything short of a Jersey barrier will deflect.
Yeah, same barrel.
Yeah.
Anyone in the audience have any questions or comments on this project? No?
I have a few questions.
Sure.
Jordan Parent lives on 44 Chestnut Street. Stopped the sidewalk at Smith Road. He didn't carry it down to my house. Curiosity, was there any particular reason why you didn't carry it further down the street?
Money, primarily. So yeah.
That's what I figured. And I have not seen any turtles crossing in my yard, so I feel confident. Maybe a more serious question. You just catch me up. You just briefly touched on the perennial screen changes. Could you just elaborate a little bit more? What was that change between now and then? I'm mostly interested in impacts to the flow of the water downstream, given land downstream from any of these changes.
So are you On the western side or eastern side?
I'm on the side with the sidewalk.
Okay.
I'm just further down.
Yep.
So any
Okay.
kind of drainage changes, shifts in the water, you know, that could possibly impact my property.
Yeah, we're not anticipating any change this time. Again, it was first classified as a perennial stream when we delineated back in December. But after the peer review and looking further at the available data, it shows that the drainage size of the channel in the project limits, because it is flowing north to south, it's not large enough to be classified as a perennial stream, so it does lose that extra riverfront area regulation, which is the outer 100 feet, or it's the additional 100 feet on top of the 100-foot buffer now. Yeah, we're not anticipating any changes downstream for the project.
We've analyzed the existing drainage and everything, and that it shows in our NOI that we don't anticipate any drainage impacts from this. No.
And then one question about the crosswalk further up. Are there going to be lights at that crosswalk?
Which one? Is it the one across Chestnut?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because there was one there and then one across Gibbon. Yeah, we are planning on installing rectangular rapid flashing beacons. They're just the ones, you may have seen them around town. Yeah, I can't remember if they're on Main Street, but they're just push button activated ones, and then they activate. They are not legally, cars are not legally binded to yield to them while they're flashing. At the same time, cars do legally have to yield to pedestrians within a crosswalk at all times. So it's just more of a heads up that somebody is going to be using this crosswalk. So we generally put them at mid-block crossings like we would do at Chestnut Street with high speeds, high volume roads.
Okay, thanks.
Do you have anything to add, Kim? Okay. So, it sounds like we want to continue this out to address Joe's comments? Or
Joe
do you
did not-
think?
Joe did not have a chance to review the updated submittal. It looks like a lot of the comments were probably addressed, but let's make sure that we have our I's dotted and our T's crossed, as long as that doesn't ruin your construction schedule.
Oh, we're looking at the fall next year, or not the fall, the spring next year.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, if we could have another meeting just to make sure that we feel like everything's buttoned up, that would be.
Okay, yeah, and if anybody wants to talk to us directly or provide anything more that you would like to see in the plans, just let us know.
Okay. Thank you.
Through the chair, can I ask one question?
Yeah.
So we discussed a lot of the comments, and I heard a little bit back. We talked a little bit about mitigation, which was, one of the things that the commission's always looking for. We talked about the deep zone catch basins, the Japanese knotwood mitigation. There's some other areas that we talked about restoring. Do we think we're good, or is there did I hear that there might be additional mitigation that was going to be requested? I thought we were good. Let me put it that way.
That's a good question, Joe. When you said mitigation in your comments, are those the type of things that you were looking for or suggesting?
Yeah, I think, under the waiver request, I need to demonstrate that they're improving the natural capacity of the resource area in some way. So I think mitigation, invasive species removal, there will probably be some stormwater improvement with the deep sump catch basins. And I think those types of things can just be highlighted as far as how the natural capacity is being improved.
Through the chair.
Yes.
And I guess a good follow-up question for the commission, so that the applicant feels a little bit more comfortable, would be, without taking a vote, just like a verbal, how is the commission feeling about potentially granting a waiver for disturbance in the no disturbance zone for this project, given the described mitigation?
Right. I think, Jim, you already you expressed
Yes,
that you were
yes.
generally
inclined.
we're feeling good about that.
So it sounds like you have some marching orders.
This is different from somebody putting a pool in.
Okay. So can I get a motion to continue this to August 20th?
I'll make that motion.
And I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Well, thank y'all for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Didn't have much choice.
Yeah, I know. We kind of figured. Yeah.
Really slow.
That's what unfortunately. Yeah.
Been 8 weeks.
Yeah. And you guys want a full-size set?
I do.
Yeah. Here you go, Kim. Go nuts.
Still got room in your office for these?
Oh my God, no.
It is nice to have real paper to look at, though, I gotta tell you.
There you go. Happy to oblige.
Pete's looking at what Kim puts up.
Can I take somebody's 11 by 17 too?
Yep.
Thank you. Oh, thank you.
This is so much better than a 12-inch monitor, I'll tell you that.
Speaking of 12-inch monitor.
All right.
Good night.
Thank you.
See ya.
Pete.
So next up, we have the RDA for Riverside Services, 71 South Street, request for determination of applicability continuation.
Hello,
Hello.
I'm Mark Levine.
Welcome.
My consultant Olivia had child care issues, so she couldn't make it this evening, but I think we've covered most of what we were asked to do prior, so hopefully I can answer any questions.
So based on our last meeting, we have the letter here addressing our comments. Kim, you got the plan?
This is the landscape plan.
I believe we changed the trees based on the last comments and identified the outflows and the drain structures.
Yes, let me pull up my notes.
And we adjusted the flag on the last one as well.
So we have had several meetings looking at this application. So at our last meeting, the last couple of items for the applicant to address, according to my notes, was for the outlet and pipe connections to be shown on the plan, along with the oil and water separator, and identifying which catch basins were deep sump footed. We asked for an operations and maintenance statement to be added to the plans, and we also talked about how some of the plantings were still non-native. So at this point, the applicant has provided comments back. They have added the existing stormwater infrastructure to the plans. They've added labels for the catch basins that are deep sump and the catch basin that has the oil and water separator. I believe there is an operations and maintenance schedule for the catch basins, which really is the only BMPs on the site. And the plantings have been changed. White spruce is going to be swapped for shagbark hickory, and the English oak is going to be swapped for eastern serviceberry. So I think that we have checked everything that we have asked for.
Okay. Yeah, I was looking at the plan earlier and was coming to the same conclusion, Kim. The species of trees you are comfortable with, you said, yeah. Does anyone have any questions or comments on this revised plan that we're presented with?
My only comment would be the apparent love for bittersweet.
Yeah. You elaborated.
Yeah, bittersweet is an invasive plant that's taking over half of the town, and to show it some affection and say that we want to leave it there just leads to the further spread of the stuff. And having spent more time than I want to talk about in the last couple of days ripping bittersweet out of the ground.
We do remediation on a regular basis. We get paid to remove it.
So there's a lot of bittersweet there, and it's being left?
I believe it was not to disturb the
Oh, yeah, the old
the
Celestial.
retention basin or whatever.
The what was previously shown as the swale, but we're
Yeah.
not touching that
Yeah,
anymore,
it
right?
was
It's-
noted not to disturb the soil because it was embedded into the soil.
Okay. And now the plan was
that's
updated
kind
to
of-
show that there's not a swale as part of the drainage system, not a swale, it's just,
We thought it was a swale, but it actually wasn't.
yep. So they're not working in that area, Ed.
The only good bittersweet is a dead bittersweet.
I agree with you.
That and knotweed.
I'm not even going there.
Yeah, don't get them started.
Yeah, I get it.
I'm the grand poobah of open space, and we are suffering greatly from being given property with loads of knotweed on it.
I can tell you we have numerous projects we're dealing with. It's common, it's all over.
Yeah,
And the process to remove is challenging.
yeah.
That's great.
So with that being said, are we comfortable with the plan? Yep. This was an RDA, right?
Yeah.
So we're looking for a motion to,
It would be a -3 with conditions.
can I get a motion for a negative determination?
So moved.
Second.
With conditions.
With Kim's
And
signature.
With conditions and Kim's signature.
Unless we sign in advance. Sign. Amend your motion.
I don't think we can sign in advance.
I amend my motion to let Kim sign on our behalf.
I'll second
With
the amended
conditions.
motion. Are we up to speed now?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We could just get ink
Okay, I think you're all set.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Do we need to do anything else going forward with?
Sorry?
Do we need to do anything else with you going forward, or?
I'll contact you soon with the next steps. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in.
Good night.
Have a good night.
Now we just got real flaky.
Okay,
Nobody here?
so
Especially with
last but not least, we have open play, 0 East Main Street, notice of intent, continuation, commercial building, recreational sports courts. So this one, we had talked about at the last meeting. Basically, we were kind of hung up on the temporary sediment basin being in the same location as the proposed infiltration basin and adding some more clarity to the note for the contractor for that construction phase sediment basin to protect the area. Kim, do you have the note we can?
And by the way, Yev did email me and said, "Where's the Zoom link?"
Oh.
Whoops.
So he may be on his way, but he might not have. Since it's the last hearing, I think we should move forward.
Yeah.
Okay, so the applicant has edited the notes on the sedimentation and erosion control plan. So it now reads, proposed infiltration BMPs shall not be used as temporary sedimentation basins and shall be kept offline until such time that the contributing areas are permanently stabilized. Temporary sedimentation basins may be installed in areas where permanent infiltration BMPs are proposed as long as the floor elevation of the temporary basin is kept at least 12 inches above the floor elevation of the permanent infiltration BMP so that a fresh layer of native soils can be exposed at the time of installation of the permanent infiltration BMP. Furthermore, the use of heavy equipment shall be avoided within temporary sedimentation basins and permanent infiltration BMPs to help prevent compaction of the underlying soils. So, Does that make us feel warm and fuzzy?
That makes me feel better.
The key is going to be implementation.
Always is.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we're adding a condition to our order here, right, Kim, for some inspection of those subsoils.
Yep, I have a special condition and an engineer to inspect the subsoils when the basin is brought to final grade upon the site stabilization, and the results of that inspection to be copied to our office. That's definitely always a tricky time when the contractor is doing the final grading, but before they skip town, because it definitely tends to happen really fast. But we're going to do our best to catch it. But it has been a problem in the past.
Okay, does anyone have any questions, comments, thoughts on this?
Yeah, Kim, would it be helpful to put a timeline on the notification? Like a minimum of 72 hours prior to final grading? Something like that, would that help you?
I think they're either going to do it or they're not.
True. I agree.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not sure that would, yeah, honestly.
Are these, so when a scope and fee goes to the planning board for construction inspection for the stormwater permit, I guess that would be the place to highlight it, right, in the
Yeah.
agreement or scope and fee that's
Yeah.
covered there.
And that's the thing is, those reports and that progress is usually what starts to indicate to me, like, okay, they're almost done, they're almost ready, and then I usually end up taking the initiative, like, hey, when is the final grading? When is the, so I can get more plugged into the construction schedule ahead of time. Like, for example, we're getting there with Chamberlain Whalen right now with Toll Brothers. So it's still a matter of like being proactive about where the contractor is at in the construction schedule. And having eyes, the combination of that and having some set of eyes out there that's representing the town.
Right. Okay. At least that site's very visible from the street. Okay, so can I get a motion to approve this notice of intent with the conditions, standard and special, with a signature?
So moved.
Kim?
Did you mean close and approve?
Close and approve, yes.
I heard her say close. I don't know.
I'll check the replay.
Yeah. This is Gab right here, right? Before we.
join you?
You can join us.
Thank you.
We have your plan on the screen.
Oh, that's me.
That's you.
We're in the midst of
Good
motioning
timing.
to close and issue an order with standard and special conditions.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Well, now that
Would
you're
like
here,
to speak,
though.
you're welcome to.
Now
But
that you're here, maybe, you know.
So you may not want to add
No, it's
anything.
okay.
Did you get a motion for that?
I made the motion.
Motion on the table.
Get a second? I'll second.
No second.
Is that okay?
Jim seconds,
Yeah, I'm
and
second.
all in favor?
Aye.
I'm opposed,
Okay.
You're opposed?
You're opposed?
Opposed.
Okay.
just to make sure our minutes are accurate.
Okay. Motion carries.
Wonderful.
Yep, so
Yeah.
you're all set.
Thank you. It was worthwhile.
Good news trip.
So what's the next step? The order of conditions going to be issued?
Yep, it will take us a couple weeks, and we'll get back to you about next steps about how to
Okay.
continue along the journey.
But meanwhile, I can apply to a building permit. Okay. Wonderful. Thank you so much, everybody.
Yeah, thanks for coming out.
Yeah.
Have a good one.
It feels much more official here in person.
It's very different.
Sorry I had to come out just for that. Yeah.
Much better.
Good night.
Hint, hint, much better.
Much better. All right, so We don't have any public forum requests, do we, Kim?
We do not, but I do want to remind everybody that we have a site walk at the proposed Charles Wood School Thursday at 5 p.m. We're going to be meeting at the Marathon School parking lot
When's that?
Thursday at 5.
Oh, good, because I thought it was last Saturday. I missed it.
Nope.
Wait,
Thursday, that's
2 days
2 days?
Thursday or
2
next
days.
Thursday? 2 days Thursday.
2 days.
Okay, good.
2
That's
days.
what I thought.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Meet at the Marathon School. Wear boots. Wear bug spray, ticks, slips and
Firearms?
tricks. Huh?
Firearms?
Not on
No,
the school property.
no.
Can I bring a
It's school-
drone
it's not
and
school
move my
property
walking
yet.
around to follow you guys?
I feel like, yeah.
See?
They invited us onto the property.
You get
so-
some with like 5-mile range. You can fly from town hall to this place and to inspect it. I'm telling you.
Do most people think they're going to be able to make it?
5 o'clock.
I plan to join.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you in a minute.
And just a friendly reminder that there's no discussion. It's just information gathering. So
Yeah.
we're not discussing, we're not making any decisions.
Wait.
We're just
Will there be
observing and
refreshments?
gathering information.
Will there be refreshments?
Oh, I hope so.
Ed's making bread.
And I'm gonna print some bread. How's that?
Yeah. Any other tips
Yeah, I'm
for that
good.
site?
This
No,
Thursday.
it's not
Open
too
space,
bad.
edge
Well,
of
parts of it
open
are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hard hats, I have a hard hat. I've been waiting
Yes,
to
I
wear
have
and
a hard
haven't had
hat,
an
too.
opportunity yet.
I have a high visibility
Afraid
vest.
to get a trip?
High visibility vest. You could wear your hard hat. I'm not sure it's necessary just yet. You could wear it if you wanted to, though. Do it briar pants or no?
For parts of it, yes.
All right.
I think a lot of it's pretty open, but if you want to walk back up to where the school building is proposed,
I'll
things,
take that.
you're going to have to go through some thick stuff.
All right.
Yeah.
So machetes.
Machetes is what I'm thinking.
You might be able to follow my path, so it's still there.
All right. Well, with that, can I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Opposed?
It still carries.
No, I'm aye.
Melissa, I got that at 57.